So, myself Satya Gupta from Tata Power Delhi Distribution Limited. So we were formed in July 2002 after privatization of DVB, and I am heading the IT department and the CISO of the company.
Hi, I'm Dr. Neena Pahuja. I'm from Education Research Network India. We are part of Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. We in METI have been working on IoT, and we have also started some Center of Excellence and plan to start more in that area. I certainly would be talking about security and how pertinent security is to IoT, and that's the topic that I will be trying to cover. Thank you.
And I am Phil Beecher, Chairman of White Sun Alliance. We were formed in 2012 to bring interoperable solutions primarily to large-scale outdoor IoT, but also in home energy management.
Yeah, Mark.
Hello, good morning. I am Marc Delandre. I am coming from France. I am the General Secretary of the G3 PLC Alliance. It's a non-profit association founded in 2011 to promote G3 PLC technology worldwide. And beside, I am also director of the metering division of Enedis. Enedis is a subsidiary of EDF Group in France, and we operate the French network with about 35 million customers in France.
Right, thank you. Good morning, everyone. My name is Vinay Dua, and I'm from Cisco India. I head the industry solution practice for Internet of Things for Cisco. And I have been, you might find it unusual, I've been with Cisco for 17 years, and mostly I have done lead technical consulting roles. And last 3 years, I am driving the industry solution market for IoT for Cisco, with utilities as the key focus area. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the introductions. Maybe we can, if you have some presentation, maybe we can start.
No, so I thought that, since the audience is also limited, we could possibly have an introduction from them as
Sure.
well. At least you can give us your names and what is
Sure.
your background, so that we know who we are talking to. You can start from you, yeah.
Hello everybody, my name is Vishal Kumar. I work for Landis & Gear, Noida, and I head the Research and Technology Division, where we focus primarily on the smart metering solutions, which are the right and relevant technologies from the communications and security perspective for the smart metering and infrastructure, and then for the Internet of Things as well.
Great.
So I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
Hello. Yeah, my name is Akshay Jain, and I am from Fluent Grade Limited. We are basically into smart cities, smart utilities. We are having our own product, MDM and CIS. This is about
Good.
Hello everyone, my name is Amit Oja. I'm from French Embassy, Economic Department. I'm Deputy Head of Industries, IT and Energy Sector. Thank you.
Good day everybody. I am Shivu Sembal from MP Discom, East Discom. I'm DGM looking after SCADA. Basically, we are facing problem with AMR systems where DCUs are burning, etc. I have come for that aspect, smart grid, and not only that, GIS based substation also. Thank you.
Great.
Hi, morning everybody. I'm R.R. Mehta from Reliance Infrastructure. We are in the distribution business in Mumbai, and we are a heavy user of cyber information flow. Thank you.
Good morning everyone. I'm Anil Sinha. I'm an independent consultant in the field of SCADA and automation. I've been in this field for quite some time, some decades in fact right now. And I have an interest in cybersecurity.
Hello everyone, myself Prasanna N. So cybersecurity engineer working for ABB based in Chennai. So I've been working on specifically HVDC cybersecurity aspects for ABB, and I have a little background of IT. I've been working with Symantec prior joining ABB. So I am switching from IT to OT security. So yeah, I'm happy to be here, and thank you.
Hello, gentlemen. Good morning. This is Mandeep from Rome Semiconductor. Basically, it's a Japanese company, and we are a member of Bison Alliances, and looking for the Indian market for Bison products. So I hope I will get the more information on this topic today. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Hiro Uenoyama. I'm also Rome Semiconductor. I'm from Japan. This is the first time to be India, so I like to feel how it's going in India. So, and then I can work as a promoter of Bison Alliance in Japan. Thank you.
I'm Nada Farah with ESTA International. We're a U.S. consulting firm. We have done several smart grid projects around the world and in India. Currently, we're helping CPRI develop a smart grid interoperability laboratory in Bangalore. We're doing the design, and they're going to implement it after that.
Hi, my name is Pavintan. I work with the Education and Research Network within the Ministry of Electronics and IT. My interest is in the IoT application in smart grid and the related cybersecurity challenges.
Yep, you could also.
So my name is Avnesh Gulati, and I'm working in Cisco India as an IoT marketing manager.
Jairam Beldkere, Cisco, part of IoT group and driving co-development of solutions by working with partners.
And Felix Davis, also from Cisco, product line manager for the field area network solution.
Great. Anybody else who's left to be introduced? Okay, thank you. So I can see that we have a diverse set of backgrounds, people who are professionals right across the communication domain, the power domain, the cybersecurity domain, some of them working in one domain but having interests in the other domain. So I'm sure it's going to be a very fruitful discussion that we're going to have today. We have a panel of experts out here who would be speaking on their own experience about communications and security with special focus on the areas that they are experts in. So just to sort of set the ball rolling, I represent the National Critical Information Infrastructure Protection Center, NCIPC. It's an organization under the National Technical Research Organization. We were set up as part of a gazette notification of the Government of India in 2014, 16 Jan 2014 to be precise. So we are about 3 years old. We recently celebrated our 3rd anniversary on 16th of Jan 2017. Fundamentally, our job is to protect the critical information infrastructure entities that we have in the country. Now, if you look at the charter of NCIPC, it's pretty humongous. When I say critical information infrastructure of the country, you can imagine the kind of the scope or the spread of what we are expected to do. So we started out by strategizing the sectors that we need to consider as CII in the first place. Now that itself was a huge challenge, because when you ask a certain entity who has got computers and communication and networks and stuff like that for their operations and their business, there is a tendency to either go completely overboard and specify every PC or a laptop or a server that you have as a critical information infrastructure, or on the other extreme, you have people who say that I don't have anything critical. So defining what is critical itself was the first challenge, and educating the CII entities to figure out what is critical information infrastructure was perhaps the first challenge that we had. So we did a fair amount of brainstorming ourselves and came up with what is known as a interdependability matrix. What we did is that we put what we thought were the critical information infrastructure on one side and try to figure out how each of these entities are going to interact with the other entity, and how much of interdependence is there between each of these entities, so that we know that, okay, fine, if A has got interaction with all the entities from B to Z, then obviously A is the most critical information infrastructure, and so on and so forth. So finally, we drew out a list, and let me sort of offer this caveat that this list is by no means exhaustive or comprehensive. It's a dynamic list because all of us are aware of what the risks in cybersecurity are. So this list as of now has got 6 categories. Power, energy, oil and natural gas, etc. forms the most critical entity as far as the CI is concerned, because every other critical entity or critical information infrastructure is dependent on power as the mother resource for its usage, for its operations. Then we have a toss-up between telecom and banking and finance, because banking lately, because of all the demonetization that has happened and all the cash moving into the digital domain, there has been a huge amount of transactions that are happening in the digital domain, which wasn't there possibly till about November. So today, if I look at it, I find that banking and financial services, or banking especially, because that's where most of the action is happening, is right up there as far as the critical information infrastructure is concerned. That's where all the attacks are going to come from, or that's where all the attacks are happening. And all of you would have read about what happened about 2-3 months back regarding debit card compromises and stuff like that. And it's more of it is happening. In fact, 2 days back we had the Vault 7 leak coming out, which talked about how systems have been compromised. Of course, that is more in the telecom or the communications segment. So that is the third. The third element is the communication of the telecom segment, where today we are also dependent on telecommunication for our existence or for our survival. That if you have those systems not functional, you find that you're not able to work, or you're not able to lead a life or lead a normal life. So telecom is the third sector. The fourth sector is, of course, transport. When I say transport, I'm talking about the landline systems, which means the transport that happens on roads, road transport, the shipping, marine transport, and of course the air transport. So air transport has the ATCs, which are all completely networked and automated these days. Even the online booking systems, they are so intertwined. When we look at it, we realize that today, if I want to book a ticket, the first thing I do is I go to cleartrip.com or makemytrip.com. Now, if the Make My Trip or the Cleartrip doesn't have a backend connectivity with, let's say, SpiceJet or Swiss Air or any other airline that I want to fly, your booking experience itself starts getting affected. So these are the points at which these vulnerabilities creep in. The touch points that you connect up your intranet to the internet, or the different intranets gets connected to each other. These are the issues, the major issue areas. So transport is the fourth segment. The fifth is, of course, the government. Government today is a power user of communications and compute infrastructure. State governments, central governments, ministries, departments, directorates, etc. They all are working in a computerized manner, and with Digital India push coming up, a lot of e-governance platforms have come up, and e-governance itself has got its own framework for cyber security. So managing all that is part of the CIA's responsibility. And so I think that, that brings me have I covered everything? I think, that's about it. Now, there are certain sectors which we are looking at pretty actively. Yeah, the last one which I didn't talk about is the strategic public sector enterprises. So all those who don't get covered under the government department or the power or telecom or other things which are strategically important, for example, the BHEL, the Bharat Electronics Limited, the ECIL, these are agencies which are all strategically very important for the country's safety, security, economic security, etc. So that is a sixth element. Another thing which we have started looking now, which still doesn't figure in the list of 6, is the health sector, because that's another vital sector where there are a lot of issues with respect to cyber security. People have started moving around with pacemakers and dispensers and stuff like that, which are all monitored using this IoT and all these technologies that have come in. So how do we really have a framework or best practices for using this equipment, monitoring this equipment, and regulating this equipment? So that's another sector that we have started recently looking at, although we are not put into that list of 6. So how do we go about doing it now, or how do we help out the entities? There are various methodologies that we are following. Number one is we create this awareness exercises. As I said, the first challenge was for an entity to figure out what is CII. So we went about explaining to them how to quantify and qualify what you have as IT asset into a CII bracket. That was one of the exercises that we carried out. And the idea is that even if you are a CII, unless you notify it as a protected system under the Government of India notification, Gazette notification again, there are no legal avenues you have to sort of penalize an offender. So somebody with a malicious intent tries to compromise your system or try to get into your network and create some kind of a issue there. Unless you are protected, unless you are named as a protected system, the IT Act, the penalties of the IT Act don't kick in unless you are a protected system. So this is a lacuna that we've been trying to address at a policy level with the Ministry of Law, Ministry of IT. So these are all happening parallelly. But if you are a protected system, then you have the mandate of the Government of India to prosecute, lodge an FIR, take it to the cybercrime cell, and then start putting into motion the legalities that kick in along with that. So that is one of the exercises that we're doing. We're also helping out these entities to, once they have identified the CII, how to take it to a protected system status. We're helping out the entities do that. We're also helping out entities who want, let's say, a vulnerability analysis of their CII or their networks or their critical information infrastructure to be carried out. We're helping them do that. We help out the entities by doing something known as cyber security preparedness surveys, which means you help them come up to a stage where they can have a benchmark of security set up in their networks and in their communication domains. We also have introduced something known as a Responsible Vulnerability Disclosure Program, RVDP we call that. So the idea is that, let's say there is a specific sector, the banking sector, and one of the banks comes up and tells you that there has been a breach or there has been a compromise, and this is what we have discovered in the network. And can you help us do a little bit more analysis of that or figure out what it is all about? So when we look at that and we realize that it's a sector-specific malware, let's say it's a banking Trojan, then we can anonymize that information, pass it on to the other entities in the banking sector so that they can beef up their securities and bring up their levels, bring up their security to a level that at least they don't get affected. So a lot of this threat intelligence information sharing has now started happening. We also have the normal conventional ways of communicating to our entities using WhatsApp. We have separate groups for all the 6 entities, WhatsApp groups, where in real time we push out messages, alerts, vulnerability alerts, some malicious IP addresses. If we are observing them, we carry out analysis and push it out to them. We also have almost 250 CISOs of these CIIs now registered with NCIPC. So we push out again vulnerability alerts and threat analysis, threat intelligence, information sharing, etc., etc. So fundamentally, that's how we are progressing now in the last 3 years. As I said, about 250 odd entities are now part of the NCIPC family, and we reach out to them, they reach out to us. So there is a fair amount of sharing of information and collaboration that is happening as part of our job. And as I said initially, the list is, it will keep on increasing, it will be dynamic. So more and more sectors will keep on adding in, and that's how we plan to do that. So that's briefly about what NCIPC is all about. I thought that should set the tone for the presentations that follow. I will now request Floria to move with the proceedings.
Yeah. Thank you, Commodore Anand, for setting the stage. Since the audience is limited, if anybody has questions, it would be good to have an interactive discussion. Any questions for Commodore Anand at this moment? Okay.
May I?
Please.
I was pretty happy with the list you narrated for the properties which need to be protected. Under the PSU category, was it specific from your side to mention only Bell and ECIL? Because I feel entities like NHPC, NTPC are much more vulnerable for the country as a whole. Yeah. Anything happening there would simply compromise the power security of the country, and we would be in a total blackout, and probably nothing will work.
Right. I think, yeah, so I should apologize for not including all those agencies as well. They're all part of the list, by the way. Some of them, for example, NTPC, let's say, or the Hydel Power Corporation that you mentioned, they would also fit into the energy and power segment as well. And power, as I said, is the most critical of the sectors. So they automatically go into another list. So all those who are not part of that list is what comes into this list. And I, possibly my background also is the reason that I talked about ECIL and Bell, because I come from a defense background, and Bell is a defense public sector unit. So maybe those interactions with Bell would have been far larger than that. So that is top of my mind. So my apologies. It is not that it's a small list. There is an exhaustive list out there as well. And all of them who don't figure in any of those 5, but are considered strategic for the countries. Look, NCIPC's narrative, if you look at it from the Gazette notification, it says that any computer resource whose incapacitation or destruction would lead to national security issues, financial or economic security issues, physical health and safety. These are the 4 broad overarching terminologies that we have been asked to protect. Entities who take care of these 4 broad charters. So anything that comes under this obviously falls into our domain. So I think that answers your question. Incidentally, we have Mr. Ajoy Rajani who has joined us out here. So no issues. If you can just briefly introduce yourself with your background so that everybody else get to know.
No, first of all, apologies, sorry. I'm Ajoy Rajani. I look after the technology for the entire Reliance infrastructure and IT for the Mumbai distribution business. Thank you.
So NCIPC rolled out several awareness programs for utilities in the last 2 years. I was fortunate to be part of several sessions in Calcutta, Bangalore, Mumbai and Delhi. The objective is to raise the awareness and sensitize the utilities on cybersecurity issues. And I think NCIPC has done a fantastic job at raising the awareness level. I think what we need to do in the next step is to go from awareness to building organizational capabilities within these utilities, so that a lot of the security issues that they are seeing, so they have that technical bench strength to really evaluate those issues. We'll now move on to the panel discussions, the presentations. So can I request Ms. Satya Gupta to start with her presentation? If you want to use the slides, I think, yes, please.